Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown. I'm Frankie Timmers. Those of you that are here in person, I'm so happy to see your beautiful faces. We have a birthday girl with us, Val Deliacono. We got her some flowers, and Val is doing the social hour today, so she brought some goodies for us afterwards. Those of you that are online, whether it's today or any moment in the future, we're glad you're with us. Our message today fits in the theme of the year, Living Out Loud, and in the theme of the month, My Passion, My Purpose. And the topic today is inner and outer teachers. What I want to explore today is this idea that life is a precious gift. And that when we forget that, that is not a punishment or a burden. That is the way back to remembering that the gift is precious. So I want to explore that a little bit today, and I also still bring back inspiration from the Parliament of World Religions and keep getting these really interesting downloads. So that's kind of where the topic comes out of. Because the whole invitation, and the only invitation there is for us to live in the oneness of all life. And how when we forget, that's where we get to heal and transform and grow and remember. We're very blessed to have Susan Neat with us today as the assisting practitioner. Susan is a licensed practitioner at Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. So we're happy to have her. You can always find all kinds of inspiration on our website, cslmorristown.org. And those of you who are here, we always have information over there on the wall and on the shelf. We have a few things in September that are really going to be fun. We're going to do some art journaling. I'm just sharing something that I've been doing. I'm taking a course called Willowing, Lifebook 2023, and I'm just passing on some things that I enjoy doing. Anybody can do. It just involves paper, watercolor, and plastic wrap. So it's going to be fun. And then the week after, on the 24th, Elaine Silver will be here presenting the message on Sunday, and a workshop afterwards called Beetology. She's a beetologist, so she's going to share the wisdom and the spiritual wisdom of the Beatles music. So that's going to be fun. This coming Friday, we have our healing circle with Gail Belluardo, and a week from Saturday, usually it's the first Saturday, but Vern helps facilitate the Men Who Care Men's group, and that's online, so that's going to be on the 9th. The 9th, right? This September. And then, of course, the end of the month, the last day of the month, we have the Brookside Wellness Fair. And some really fun things are starting to happen. Susan is helping with that, with the vendors. If that's something that you'd like to volunteer at, even if it's for an hour, we would love to have you. Just let me know. So let's do our Namaste practice. Namaste is the Sanskrit word of the divinity in me. Sees and blesses the divinity in you. So greet someone and give and receive that blessing. Namaste. And let's treat our word for affirmative prayer. And so right here, right now, as I withdraw my attention from the outer worlds and bring it to this sacred, secret place that I experience my own divinity when I sit there long enough and rest long enough and breathe long enough and become still until it rises to the surface. And so when I say I, mine, me, I simply speak from and to the divinity in each and every one of us, where we do experience the oneness of all life, where we are already given everything we need to live a fruitful life, where we can trust that the experiences that we are having, that we call maybe not spiritual, or not blessed, or not happy, become the way in. Become the way for us to clear our mind of any limiting ideas and to arrive once again at the truth of our very being, that in that experience wants to be lived. And so today we trust that in a deeper way. Today we let go whatever is in the way, whether we're aware of it or not. And today we trust more deeply that the life that is lived by means of me, by means of each of us, is the life of spirit revealing itself by means of this experience. And so trusting this, I simply allow myself to dwell in a place of gratitude. Gratitude for life, gratitude for this spiritual community, gratitude for this beautiful teaching, and gratitude for love and law. And so it is.
And so it is.
So, many of you, I think, are familiar with the poem by Mary Oliver called The Summer Poem, or The Summer Day, especially the phrase that I put in the meme of the weekly blast that said, "Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life." But this is the whole poem. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last, and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one and precious, your one wild and precious life? The one thing that on the spiritual path we must remember, and we actually keep remembering if we pay attention, is that this incarnation that you and I are having as a soul in a human body, a physical body, is precious, is sacred, is a gift, is a blessing. Not just when we feel good, not just when we're happy, not just when things are going well or when we're abundant or in love or have a great job, but every single moment, every single breath, every single experience. And our forgetting that is not a punishment. It's not even a burden unless we call it that, unless we believe that, but is the way to bring us back to that place of remembrance and that place of oneness. And so all of us are given experiences, my guess is every day, to see really clearly that this incarnation is a gift and a blessing because it's awakening us to our own divinity. And so if we see it that way, if we use it that way, it changes everything. But our human tendency, which means that we're living in separation, we don't realize the oneness of all life. In a place of separation, we think this is bad, this is a problem, this is an issue, this isn't working, this isn't enough, this isn't good enough. And so all those noticing of the limitations must be viewed in a different way if we call ourselves metaphysicians, if we say we're on a spiritual path, if this is just for fun and entertainment, you're good to go. You just come and hang out and have coffee and snacks and see your friends. But if you really take this seriously, it takes on a completely different hue. And so what happens then is we get to realize or remember or notice our purpose. And that comes from our passion. What do you love? What do you love? I get to ask the question. We all get to ask that question. What is it that I really love? And how much and how often am I living that? Or am I just trying to navigate myself through my mud and surviving? And so the invitation is constantly to look more deeply, to experience life more deeply, to more deeply understand the meaning, and to take nothing for granted, and to waste not one breath, to waste not one experience, even the ones you call difficult, challenging, painful, especially the ones we call challenging, difficult, and painful, because those are our growing edges. And so we learn all the time. We're paying attention all the time. We're listening all the time. We're present all the time, open and receptive to what our experience is telling us. My teacher's teacher, my meditations teacher's teacher, Mrs. Tweedy, used to say, the outer life leads us to the inner life, and the greatest life, and life is our greatest teacher. I always carry that as a mantra. The outer teacher leads us to the inner teacher, and the greatest teacher is life. I may have said it wrong the first time. The outer teacher leads us to the inner teacher, and the greatest teacher is life. Life is an amazing teacher every moment. And how we see that, and how we judge that, and what we believe about that is so incredibly rich, because it can lead us astray to more suffering, or it can bring us back to the very truth of our being, that the oneness of life is all there is. And so everything then has a purpose. Everything is for us. Everything is for our growth. Everything is for our evolution. And not just for us, for all of humanity. Because if I think of life as one suffering pot of misery, and my conditioning is constantly in the way, I am a part of all the problems that are taking place on the planet. But if I, as a metaphysician or somebody on the spiritual path, says, well, I'm going to use that one, then I become a healing presence on the planet. And we may not see any results in our lifetime, but we know that these are drops that fall in the ocean that ripple out forevermore. And so many people have said to me, I don't really know what my purpose is. Well, you're not paying attention. You're not listening. You're instead saying, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it is. And guess what? That's a very powerful affirmation. Because everybody knows what their purpose is, but they're not always paying attention or listening or acting on it, right? That's not a bad thing. That's just information for us to say, oh, that's interesting. So pick the Dalai Lamas. The Dalai Lama says the only purpose in life is to be happy. So take that one if you don't know what yours is, because that's your purpose, is to be happy. And what that means is that whatever is in the way of your happiness, you need to resolve, or dissolve, or move through, or work through, or transform. And so they become gifts for our awakening, for our opening. We all have these divine appointments. I love what Michael Beckwith says. He says, your disappointments are divine appointments. Your disappointments are divine appointments. And so how do we tend to our disappointments? How do we tend to our stories? By looking and saying what wants to be lived and revealed and grown. So I'm going to say something really controversial right now. You can be mad at me all you want to, it doesn't matter to me. I am really tired of hearing everybody talk about their traumas. Trauma this, trauma that, trauma here, trauma there. We're all traumatized. We all have PTSD, which is either post-traumatic stress syndrome, not as pre-traumatic stress syndrome. I understand that some of us have experienced trauma. It's part of being human. It is the doorway to your divinity. And if we focus on the traumas, we will never heal. The idea is to say that's a gift. How is it a gift? And how can I rely on my spiritual self, my wisdom self, my higher self, my spirit, my soul, to make that into a gift and to move through it so that I can be free and live my purpose? And of course, there is trauma that people need more assistance with. We're not therapists. We are practitioners and ministers, right? And we're students of this teaching. And sometimes we need help. I was in therapy for 10 years myself, years ago. Until the day came where I went, what am I doing? I don't need this anymore. So does that mean that difficult things don't happen to me? Oh, hell yes. I mean, look how I study the Science of Mind magazine. All these little things have notes and journal pages and ideas that I explore and treatment requests. I study this thing from beginning to end every day, every month, because it's one of my teachers. It's one of my teachers. Our teachers are everywhere. Our teachers are everywhere. Listen to what Khalil Gibran has to say about that. He says, I've learned silence from the talkative. Toleration from the intolerant. Kindness from the unkind. Yet strange. I am ungrateful to these teachers. But that kicked me in the ass. So, but I love that when that happens, where I go, ooh. I've learned silence from the talkative, toleration from the intolerant, kindness from the unkind, yet strange. I'm ungrateful to these teachers. We get to be grateful that we have incarnated, which means that you and I were so evolved that the divine said, let me send you to earth so that you can grow some more. And I'll put you in this body with those parents in that town and have that experience, because that's the perfect right way for you to evolve and to grow. But because some of the religions that we were raised with, we were told that they were punishments, we still have this idea that's maybe unconscious going on, that it's something that's wrong with me, or wrong with my life, or should not have happened, or wasn't supposed to happen. No, all of it is divine right action. As metaphysicians, as people on the spiritual path, we can get to pick and choose what's holy and what isn't. What's sacred and what isn't, what's divine right action and what isn't. It all is. And we get to see it that way and look at it that way, instead of thinking it's a burden, a punishment. It's about our suffering. It's about trauma. It's about our wounds. It's about our conditioning. It's about struggling. Because, you know, some of us believe, I don't, that life is a struggle. It's not. It's a gift. It's a blessing. Every moment and all of life is a teacher. And so what we learn is this for my growth and a teacher, or am I being tormented? If it is that you're being tormented by something, someone, somewhere, it's because of your own mind and how you believe and what you think about it. It's not because of the experience, it's the perception that we have about it, how we make up our mind about it. And so there is a choice to be made. Are we choosing to keep suffering and struggling, or choosing to surrender and to realize that all of life is a blessing and a gift? Am I choosing to continue to live in a state of separation? Or am I choosing to live in a state of oneness of all life? It's a constant choice every moment. I know. So I want you to do a little practice with me that came to me in meditation. I want you to open your left hand. Just look at your left hand and imagine that within your left hand is your past, your conditioning, your struggles, the beautiful things that you've had to experience in life, the whole thing of the world of opposites. It's your story, your history, your beliefs, your limitations, your healings, your gifts, your blessings. It's everything that's happened up until now. And now open your right hand. Your right hand is the next moment, tomorrow, the rest of your life, the future. It represents your spirit, your soul. It is the realm of infinite possibility. If we live where these two are separate, we will suffer. So in the present moment, I can choose to live that way. Good, bad, right, wrong, high, low, all that stuff. Or, yes, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that, but bring your hands together. Because in the present moment, if I can see this, as connected as one, the moment that I see it that way, a healing happens. Transformation happens. Your purpose comes alive. Your passion is ignited. Or vice versa, your passion is ignited and your purpose comes alive. Even if you don't know what it is, you'll know it. Or you'll pick the Dalai Lamas. You're here to be happy. That's your birthright. The suffering that we experience is because we hold limiting ideas about who we are and limiting ideas of what God in us is, what our divine nature is all about. And so we must constantly decide and choose. Do I keep suffering over this or that because I'm afraid of the future? Or do I surrender and trust this very moment that everything is sacred? Everyone is sacred, all the time, everywhere. That means, for me, when I say that, everyone, everywhere, all the time is sacred, I have a lot to clean up in my consciousness because I hold lots of judgments about people, places, and things. It's okay. It's important for me to notice and immediately shift it. Immediately choose to shift it by going deeper. That's why we are metaphysicians. We don't live on the world of the physical, we live in the world of the metaphysical, which is the higher point of view, the above, right? And so what we do is we come to this place of realizing that every breath and every heartbeat is in service to the oneness of all life. It's in service to our purpose, is in service to love, is in service to healing, is in service to opening, is in service to our awakening. Personally, the shit I've experienced this lifetime, I do not want to take it with me. Hence, I deeply study every day, whether it's Science of Mind magazine or anything, and meditate, and treat, and work with prayer partners and practitioners. Because there's a lot of things I don't want to take with me. So I need to let them go. Some of the limiting stories that I have held in my life are completely changed. They're no longer the same stories. Because if the story is limited or reflects suffering, why would I want to carry that? I'd rather see it as a story of healing and transformation and opening and deepening and see it all in a different light. And I know that many of you live that way. That's why you're here. So you're already ahead of the pack, ahead of the game, ahead of the journey, awakening to your beautiful, beautiful, glorious nature, your divine essence, that only you get to live as a unique individualization of the one. Personally, I decided I do not want God to be bored by me. I don't want to get to the heavenly gates, if there's such a thing, and God said, you bore the crap out of me with your whining and your complaining and your judging and your worrying and your anxiousness and your stories of not enough. No, I want God to say, good job, girlfriend. And don't we all want that, right? That means we got to get to work. And so, isn't it interesting that Mary Oliver says, tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. She didn't say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She says one. What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Howard Thurman, also a wise philosopher, said in a similar way this: don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. And go do that. The world needs more people who have come alive. So it is. So let's have some music, and then we get to have the beautiful Susan meet. This is Learn to Live by Jack Fowler.
When the soul is free. Good morning.
Good morning.
Time to learn to live. Time to come home. So today, wait, let me just check. So today, oops, wait, one more thing. They're pink today. So there is a treatment that Ernest Holmes wrote. The ending sentence is, "Today I live the gift of life in all of its fullness." And so I add, today and every day I lead the gift of life in all of its fullness. So today I'm going to lead you on a little journey around that thought. And then afterwards we might have a little fun, because sometimes I like to, be brave and bold. So when we live the gift of life in all of its fullness, that really means God is life. Life is omnipresent. Living the gift of life in all of its fullness means we are recognizing our union with the divine, because then we are in the flow. And in the flow was also something, I think, in that magazine this month. So how do we do that? We do that by maintaining our recognition, which we know, as Reverend Frankie said, is a challenge. Sometimes we forget. So let's go on a little journey together. So I invite you to find that quiet space, closing your eyes if that's available to you, feeling that support of the chair, and then taking that beautiful deep breath of life. That breath is life-giving. That is God's breath. And when we breathe that breath in, we can only feel that space that is God. So I invite you right here and now to just recognize, as you breathe, that you are filled full with this life called God. And enjoy this moment, feeling your unity with divinity and each other. And we know the truth. Sometimes we forget. So I invite you right now to think of some place where you have forgotten, that maybe stops you every day in every way to live this wonderful gift called life with joy. And that's okay. Sometimes we forget, but I invite you to bring something specific to mind, whether it be something in a relationship or in your body or in the world. And that's okay. As Reverend Frankie said, this is our opportunity. This is our gift. This is our teacher. So look at this opportunity right now, this place of forgetting, and just thank it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me to see the truth and remember my truth, for steering me in the right direction so that I can be filled full of the gift of life in all areas of my being. And just be with that gratitude. In gratitude for all of my learning experiences, those wonderful times when I forget my union with God. Thank you, for they bring me forward and upward to that place of the Most High, to that place of remembering the truth. And as we sit in this space, I'm going to read some words by Ernest Holmes in the first person, that we can take them in as our own. I cleanse the windows of my mind, that it may become a mirror reflection reflecting the inspiration from the Most High. Today, I walk in the pathway of inspiration, of remembering. There is an inspiration, a remembering within me, which governs every act, every thought with certainty and with conviction. The key that unlocks the treasures of the kingdom of good is in hand, and I unlock the doorway of my consciousness and gently open it that the divine presence may flood my whole being with light, can illumine me with its radiant glow, and direct my footsteps into the pathways of joy. Today, I am ready to acknowledge to all and to myself that I am whole. I am filled full of spirit. God and I are one. Therefore, today and every day, I live the gift of life in all of its fullness. Amen to that. So let's just sit with that for a moment. I live the gift of life in all of its fullness. And just feel that uplift as we move from that peaceful place into this joy-filled place of remembering our truth. And I invite you to open your eyes and be that reflection of joy when you are ready, and put that smile on your face, that you can send that light to each one here and to the world. So open those eyes in gladness and in joy, and together let us say these words out loud to anchor them into our consciousness and with each other. Today I live.
Today I live.
Today I lived the gift of life.
Today
I live the gift of life. Today I live the gift of life in all of its fullness. Today I live the gift of life in all of its fullness, and so it is.
And so it is.
Namaste.
Namaste.
There's a healing going on.
Amen.
Thank you, Susan. That was wonderful. Susan is available after celebration right here in this little corner to do Treatment Express, which means that it's like chop, chop, hop, hop, make a request, she'll do a treatment, and then next. So if you need more, be sure to reach out to any of our practitioners, whether they're here or any center or CSL website. There's so many places where people want to support you. I have one Science in My magazine left. They're now 2-in-1. So this is September, October. And the price is the same, $10. So this is September, October. So I have one left. But please subscribe, because that's a wonderful way to get it in the mail too. We usually only get about 4 or 5 copies. All right, so let us think about gratitude and the universal law of giving and receiving. Each of us give in different ways, and there are an infinite ways to give. One way to give here is to volunteer. One way is to serve in another way during the week. One of it is to support the center financially. Another one is to keep this center and all of the world and the planet in your treatment work, to do your practices. So there's many different ways. Some of you are able to give, some of you aren't. All that is good. We bless all of it. So as we pass around the basket, there's an envelope you can use. That way we can track it and give you a tax-deductible letter at the end of the year. And There's also text to give, my personal favorite. You can go to the website as well. You can give any way you want to. There's pens in here as well. If you need some time to fill anything out, just keep the basket moving and it will come back to you. And we'll do the affirmation together. Divine love consecrates my gift.
Divine love consecrates my gift.
It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless.
It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless.
It returns to me multiplied abundantly.
It returns to me multiplied abundantly.
As I share my good,
As I share my good,
I accept my greater goods.
I accept my greater good.
And when the basket passes by you, whether you're giving or not, just bless this community, our abundance, our connection to one another, and our beautiful teaching. And now, Susan will bless us with a closing treatment.
Before I do so, I'm just going to speak a moment for this express treatment concept. So what I do, one of the roles of a practitioner is to hold the space of truth for everyone, so we do that naturally. But I will sit in a chair, actually right there, and I'll be in meditation. And if you choose to come up for an express treatment, I'll have the next chair right there for you to sit. And then I'll open my eyes and I'll ask you, what truth do you want me to know for you today? And then I will treat. So I just wanted to give you that heads up. I'm not going to be in that corner. I'm going to be sitting holding the space in my chair. I don't want you to think I'm shirking my duty. So, whoops, I did it again. You know, I'm just not used to being the star of stage and screen. So, let us close our eyes and find that wonderful space again so I can speak these words and hold this space of truth for all of you. Knowing that there is only this one precious life, but that life is God. And each one here is filled with that life. That life is peace and joy and harmony and love. And every day in every way, we see God's shining presence revealed in everybody that we meet, in the world, in the trees, in the animals, in the beautiful gemstones, in our homes, in our mode of transportation, in our jobs. God's shining presence is everywhere, and in recognition of that, we sit in that place of the Most High. And we know, therefore, that we are the light. We are God's light shining through us, that we can illumine not only ourselves, but our loved ones and our community. And we are that light that lights up that world. We are the light of the world. And so as we leave today in remembering that we can live this gift of life in all of its fullness, we remember that we are whole, that we are perfect, that we are complete, and that we can and do serve in that way as perfect expressions of the divine. So knowing this truth, we all say together, and so it is. Namaste.
Namaste.